You're trying to save me, stop holding your breath. And you think I'm crazy, yeah, you think I'm crazy.
Hi my angels, it's Haley Reese, and for today's video I'm going to be sharing with you yet another video from my haunted house series. You guys know how much I love this series, you guys know how much I love to film this series, and I feel like I haven't filmed a video from the haunted house series in a pretty hot minute, so I thought, you know what better video to film than one from that. Today we are going to be talking about the burial ground and the burial ground children. And so if you guys want to hear all about that, then all you have to do is just keep on watching today's video. Before I get into today's video though, I just really quickly want to say, if you are new to my channel, hello, my name is Haley. My family here is the Reese's Pieces. We believe in the unbelievable, so if you too believe in the unbelievable, or you just want to hear about it, please go ahead, click that subscribe button, and join our growing family. Now, something super interesting about my haunted house that I've only really briefly touched on is the fact that not only was there a vortex/portal, this entire city where the house was located was built upon what is said to have been a Native American burial ground. Now, a lot of places that are built on burial grounds tend to have a ton of paranormal activity, but I feel like our activity was that much stronger solely because of the vortex and the portal. The interesting thing is, like, a lot of people in our neighborhood had experienced certain things to do with the burial ground and like certain activity that they could only really point back to that. But I feel like when you live in an area that is super haunted and your space has a vortex and a portal, you are just asking for all of these things to be attracted to you. So that is kind of where our story begins. Now, when I was a little kid, I've told you guys this in the past, I used to teach ghosts. Oh my goodness, I make myself sound crazier and crazier every time I come on here, but I mean, I think I'm past the point of some people thinking I'm insane, so we'll just roll with it. Basically, I used to like teach what my family thought were like invisible friends, but I thought that they were ghosts. And I used to go to school and then I would come home and I would teach them like everything that I learned that day. Now, at the beginning of every single class, I would write out a class list, because I don't know about you guys, but when I was younger, like the super cool thing to do would be like to take the attendance down to the office, like because you got to leave the class. So I used to make up an attendance and like fake pick somebody to take it to the office and whatever else. And how I would do this attendance is I would listen to what I thought all of their names were and I would write them all down until I no longer heard any more names, and that was that. That was the class. So this is going to come into play a little bit later in the story, but that's also a really, really important aspect for you guys to understand. So you guys remember my mom had a friend who was super, super spiritual, and she could talk to her spirit guides and she would also see ghosts and things like that. Now, she very often came over to my grandma's house and she would very, very often tell us about all the different things going on in there. I mean, she didn't tell me because I was little, but she would tell my family all of the things going on. And she came over to the house twice in 1 week. The very first time that she came to the house that week, she said that she sensed an overwhelming presence of burial ground children, and that she feels like we must have been built on a burial ground. So my mom's like, you know what, everyone knows that this city is built on top of what is rumored to have been a burial ground, so maybe she just knows about that and she's just like sensing it, whatever. Now, about a few days later, I'm outside playing in the backyard teaching my class. And my mom's friend turns to her and they're in the kitchen. And if you remember how my haunted house is set up, there's like my glass sliding doors where I used to play out on the deck, and then there's that kitchen table that's like right there. So they were sitting at the kitchen table, and all of a sudden, like, my mom's friend is looking outside. And she has this look on her face that my mom knew, like, the minute that look came on her face, she's about to say something spiritual. And my mom's like, what? And she's like, hold on a second. And she's looking outside and she's looking at me, and I'm just teaching this class. And she said, your daughter is teaching the children of the burial ground. And my mom's like, what are you talking about? She's like, I'm serious. And my mom's like, my mom doesn't know what to say, because like I've always said, she's like, she believes in it, but she kind of like doesn't talk about it quite as much. And so she's like, what's in Haley's hand? And my mom's like, that's her class list. and she goes, oh my goodness, she goes, let's ask to see Haley's class list. So my mom opens up the door and she's like, Haley, can you come here for a second? And I come inside and I'm bringing my little like clipboard, and she's like, can we see your class list? And I'm like, sure. So I hand it to her, and my mom's friend just gets like this crazy smirk on her face. Like, you guys have no idea, like this look like, haha, I told you so. And she's like, look at the names on Haley's class list. And my mom looks at them, and sure enough, they are Native American names that like a little kid would have never thought of. Names that were like historical. Like, there were a ton of Aboriginal names on this list that I would have never have been able to just like fabricate in my own head. And so my mom's jaw drops, and she's like, oh my goodness, Haley is teaching some children of the burial ground. And it wasn't until I think about a month later that my mom asked to keep seeing my class list, and all of the names changed. And she asked me, Haley, where did all of those kids go? And I said to her, you guys, Mama, they have so much land. It's not just here, they moved on now. And my mom was just like, what kind of kid do I have? Like, what kind of kid do I have? And that was when they realized that the rumors of the city being built on a burial ground were most likely very, very true, and that I had probably truly been talking and playing with and teaching the children from the burial ground. I know for a fact that when you are a child, you attract a ton more of like children ghosts, because they realize that you're a child as well. They're attracted to you, and especially if you can see them, it makes such a difference. So it really doesn't surprise me looking back now that I probably did attract them. It wasn't for the longest time in the whole world, but it was definitely for a moment there, and my mom's friend made it very, very clear to her that what I had been seeing and saying and talking and making on that class list was probably a ton more than a child's imagination. The really interesting thing is now as an adult, when I look back at stories of things like from my area and from the city that I grew up in, there are so many stories of people experiencing things that they really feel are related to it being built on a burial ground. And so it's really interesting how suddenly what one person is experiencing that may come across as like crazy or out of this world, multiple people begin to experience, and all of a sudden it doesn't seem like such a crazy concept. I really wanted to share this story with you guys. I love to post my long stories, and I have some crazy ones that I know are going to be super long, but at the same time, I've asked you guys in the past if you want to hear just some of like the smaller stories of things that I experienced, because there's so many of them, and you guys are like, we don't care how long it is, we want to hear the stories. And so I thought, you know what, I'm still a little bit sick, my voice isn't the most appealing to listen to right now, I know I sound congested, so let me tell a few of these smaller little stories. And that way, once I'm feeling better, I can come back in with a bang and give you guys all of the crazy long stories that I'm just like so excited to share with you. If you guys enjoyed today's video but you are not yet subscribed, please go ahead, click that subscribe button. I post a ton of videos and I don't want you to miss when I upload. And please give this video a big thumbs up. Like I always say, it makes my heart super happy when you do that, so please do that. Remember, my loves, do all things with kindness, and until next time, love you!